Imagine walking into your daughter's home, only to find the door locked, her phone silent, and something deep inside telling you something is terribly wrong. That's the nightmare one father lived through in Fort Bend County, Texas, when he forced his way inside and made a discovery no parent should ever face. His daughter, well-known model and influencer Mercedes Moore, was found dead inside her apartment, alongside the man who had killed her. Her family, heartbroken and searching for answers, says they never expected something like this. Her father explained, "I knew something was off the moment she didn't pick up her phone. I didn't hesitate to break the door down. What I saw, no parent should ever have to go through." Mercedes Moore wasn't just any young woman. She had built a massive following online, with more than 2.6 million fans on Instagram. She moved in celebrity circles, often spotted with names like Drake, Travis Scott, and Offset. Her success also led her to create an OnlyFans account, where she gained even more popularity and financial success. She wasn't stopping there. Mercedes had plans to launch her own clothing line, which many believed would take her brand to an even higher level. But those dreams ended abruptly when a stalker traveled all the way from Florida to Texas, determined to do the unthinkable. The shocking crime left celebrities and influencers rattled, worried for their own safety. The big question is, what drove this man to commit such a horrific act? And what were his real motives? Before we go deeper into the case, we want to pause to send our deepest condolences to Mercedes Moore's family and friends. Their pain is something no one should endure. This story unfolds in Houston, Texas, one of the state's largest cities with more than 2.3 million residents. Known for its rich culture, booming energy industry, and vibrant art scene, Houston also faces a darker side, higher than average crime rates. With about 37 crimes per 1,000 residents, including violent offenses like assault, robbery, and homicide, the city has long struggled with safety concerns. Despite Houston's rising crime statistics, the city has been working hard on public safety programs to improve life for its residents. But within this busy city lived Jana Gagnier, better known to millions online as Mercedes Moore. Born on November 26, 1987, Jana was the oldest daughter of Mark Gagnier and Janetta Grover. To her family, she wasn't an Instagram star. She was a daddy's girl, her mother's best friend, and a dependable big sister to her sibling, London. Her parents, both military veterans, settled down after service, got married, and even opened restaurants together. Jana, meanwhile, showed her intelligence and business sense early. At just 12 years old, she was already braiding hair in her garage for extra money. Fashion and money weren't just hobbies for her, they were her drive. But life at home wasn't always smooth. When her parents divorced, Jana and her sister were forced to split their time between Texas and California. The back and forth created tension, and Jana often clashed with both her mom and dad. Her teenage years saw her acting out, sometimes getting into fights with other girls in school. Still, she managed to push forward. After high school, Jana enrolled in college to become a dental assistant. But that path didn't last long. She dropped out and followed her boyfriend to Las Vegas. There, she reinvented herself. Jana stepped into the world of professional dancing at strip clubs and took on a new name, Mercedes Moore. The name was carefully chosen, Mercedes to represent luxury, and Moore to symbolize her hunger for more success, more recognition, and more wealth. Her new lifestyle worried her parents, sparking many family discussions. They saw their daughter chasing a different kind of future, one they didn't fully understand. At first, her parents worried about her choices. But those worries soon turned into acceptance when Mercedes began earning as much as $5,000 in a single weekend. She proved she wasn't just working, she was thriving. Still, stripping wasn't her end goal. Mercedes used her influence to climb higher, shifting her focus to social media. Her Instagram exploded, drawing in millions of followers and putting her in the same circles as Drake, Travis Scott, and Offset. The fame gave her a new platform, and she walked away from dancing altogether. She pivoted into modeling, brand promotions, and even OnlyFans, a subscription-based site where fans pay for exclusive content, often explicit. Beyond that, she launched her own products from sportswear to hair extensions. Mercedes wasn't just an influencer, She was a businesswoman. By the time she hit 2 million followers, she had built a brand many only dream of. But fame came with a price. Her love life was complicated. Most men she dated couldn't handle her career, pushing her to quit modeling or OnlyFans. None of those relationships lasted. Then came someone different. A man who accepted her for who she was. They moved in together, and Mercedes even talked about marriage and kids. To her parents, that was a shock. She had never spoken that way before. But the real danger had nothing to do with her boyfriend. It was the attention her fame brought. Years earlier, she had already been doxed, her home address leaked online by an obsessive fan. Anyone familiar with doxing knows how dangerous it is, especially when strangers don't respect boundaries. Mercedes became paranoid about her safety. She didn't care about online insults, but she feared being stalked. She moved into a gated community, the Cortland Apartments in Richmond, Texas, hoping the extra security would help. The area offered moderate protection, gates, cameras, fast food joints nearby, but it wasn't enough for someone as high-profile as her. She grew more cautious online, careful about what she posted. But even the smallest details slipped through. A doorway, a background, a location clue. Details that could expose her. And tragically, those details would not protect her from the horror that was about to strike. August 29, 2021. Jana's father, Mark, had just come back from a fishing trip when he received a call that froze him in his tracks. It was his other daughter, London. She told him she hadn't heard from Jana in days. That alone was strange. Jana was incredibly close to her family, especially her father. But what alarmed Mark even more was that Jana hadn't posted on social media in 3 days. For someone with millions of followers, who built her career on daily interaction with fans, this was deeply unusual. Then, Mark remembered their last phone call nearly 10 days earlier. Jana had asked him to come stay with her while her boyfriend was out of town. She was afraid of being alone, especially after everything she'd experienced. Mark couldn't sit still. He drove straight to Jana's apartment at the Cortland complex. When he arrived, he immediately noticed her BMW parked outside. That meant she had to be home. He knocked. No answer. He called. Silence. Mark knew his daughter. Something was wrong. He didn't hesitate. He forced the door open, and what he saw shattered him. At the bottom of the stairs lay Jana, motionless, her clothes torn. At first, Mark thought she'd suffered a terrible accident. But as he stepped deeper inside, the truth became horrifyingly clear. The apartment was wrecked. Bloodstains marked several areas. And on the walls, written in lipstick, were disturbing messages. Words of obsession, regret, and rage. I should have stayed in Florida. I wish I never loved her. I was used. Those chilling words revealed the twisted mind of her stalker, 34-year-old Kevin Alexander Accordo. Investigators later learned he had driven from Florida to Texas, broken into Jana's home, and spent 2 days inside before taking her life, and then his own. The following clip shows exactly what he wrote on the wall that day. As Mark continued through the apartment, he discovered Accordo upstairs, barely alive, with a knife plunged into his neck. Accordo was twitching and gurgling, struggling with the self-inflicted wound that would soon take his life. Mark watched in shock as Aorto died moments later, unable to process the horror that had unfolded in his daughter's home. The tragedy was the result of a man's delusional obsession with Jana, whom he likely never met in person but had followed obsessively online. Despite Jana's efforts to keep her personal life private and secure, Aorto had somehow tracked her down, leading to this devastating murder-suicide that shattered her family and left a haunting memory for her father. After the tragic news broke that Mercedes Moore had been killed, a wave of rumors and misinformation quickly followed. Despite the confirmation that her death was the result of a violent attack, unfounded narratives began to circulate on social media. Some claimed that she had died from AIDS, while others speculated that COVID-19 was the cause. Others claimed it was a violent sugar daddy. These rumors were entirely baseless, lacking any credible evidence and served only to confuse and mislead the public, and it went from false accusations of HIV or a co to other things, and nobody even reached out to talk to us. Most people focus too much on the dangers of being famous online, especially on platforms like OnlyFans. While it's true that public figure was the result of a violent attack, consistent with being physically overpowered and asphyxiated, there was evidence of blunt force trauma to her head, suggesting that she was subjected to a brutal assault before being strangled. Despite the initial assumptions of a break-in, the investigation later revealed that there were no signs of forced entry into Jana's apartment. This discovery led to questions about how Kevin Alexander Accordo, her killer, was able to access her home given the absence of any broken windows, doors, or locks. Authorities speculated that Accordo may have entered the apartment through an unlocked door, or by somehow gaining her trust or deceiving her into letting him in, because her apartment was on the second floor and had only one way in, which was the staircase. It was also possible that he had been able to tailgate behind her into the secure apartment complex, slipping inside without her knowledge. However, the precise details of how he gained entry remain unclear, contributing to the unsettling nature of the crime. Forensics were able to determine that Mercedes didn't know Kevin and that they had no relationship or friendship prior to the incident. The public reaction to the death of Mercedes Moore was one of shock and grief, especially among her large following on social media platforms like Instagram and OnlyFans. When the news of Jana's death spread, the internet lit up with shock and sorrow. Fans, influencers, and fellow creators Mercedes Moore trended as thousands shared condolences, disbelief, and heartbreak. Some even held vigils in her honor. But not all reactions were kind. Alongside the sympathy came a darker wave, people victim blaming, suggesting her career as a model and OnlyFans creator somehow led to her death. These comments sparked outrage. Many pushed back, calling the remarks misogynistic and reminding the world that no one deserves to be stalked, attacked, or killed, no matter their profession. For her family, the pain was unbearable. Her father, Mark, who had discovered her body, said no parent should ever have to witness what he saw. Her mother, Janetta, described Jana as a loving, kind-hearted daughter who cared deeply for others. "She's just a sweetheart," she said, "and my baby's gone from something that didn't have to happen." Her sister, London, poured her grief out on Instagram, writing messages that were as raw as they were heartbreaking. In interviews, the family didn't hold back their anger. They questioned how a stranger could become so obsessed through social media and called for stronger protections against stalking and harassment. They wanted the world to understand that Jana wasn't friends with her killer. She wasn't in a secret relationship. She was the victim of a predatory stalker. Celebrities also stepped in to honor her. Rapper Tory Lanez shared his shock online. Drake, one of the biggest names in music, went further, dedicating his album Certified Lover Boy to her memory. And yet, one question still lingers. How did Kevin Alexander Accordo, a man with no history of violence, manage to track Jana down? With no forced entry, no connection between them, and no clear trail, that mystery remains unsolved. What's left is a family mourning a daughter, a sister, and a friend, and a haunting reminder of the dangers that come when obsession crosses the line into violence. Unconfirmed reports suggest that Mercedes often received gifts from fans. While many sent them through P.O. boxes, others may have slipped personal details. Some believe this, combined with the photos she posted inside her home, even one showing her front door, may have helped her stalker confirm where she lived. Her friends and family remember her differently, not for the tragedy, but for the joy she brought. She was so happy, so funny, so loving. She loved life and made everyone feel special, one friend recalled. "We'll remember that amazing spirit, her laugh, her presence. We'll love her and miss her forever." The case of Mercedes Moore is more than just a headline. It's a sobering lesson about privacy, safety, and the risks of oversharing online. It shows how small details, an address, a background in a photo, even a delivery, can be pieced together by someone with dangerous intentions. It's also a call for stronger protection against stalking and harassment, and for all of us to stay aware of what we share digitally. Law enforcement played a crucial role in bringing clarity to this tragedy, but the biggest lesson remains. Protecting your personal information is protecting your life. And yet, one haunting question remains unanswered. What truly drove Kevin Alexander Accordo to travel across state lines to commit this horrific act? Was it obsession, a fantasy turned dark, or something we may never understand? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe this was pure obsession, or could something else have pushed him over the edge? Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more shocking true crime stories like this one.